William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, written between 1591 and 1595, is the world's most iconic tragedy of youthful passion. Set in the Italian city of Verona, it depicts a deadly feud between two noble families, the Montagues and the Capulets. The plot follows Romeo and Juliet, children of these warring houses, who fall into a sudden, transcendent love. After a secret marriage facilitated by Friar Laurence, the lovers ultimately take their own lives. The play employs a lyrical, sonnet-heavy style to explore themes of fate, duality, and the recklessness of youth, taking a stance that critiques how ancestral hatred poisons the innocent. Act 1. The play opens not with the lovers, but with a brawl. The servants of the Capulet and Montague houses fight in the street, showing that the ancient grudge has trickled down to every level of society. Prince Aeschylus breaks up the fight, issuing a death threat. If the peace is disturbed again, the forfeit will be life. Meanwhile, Romeo Montague is lovesick over a woman named Rosalind, who has vowed to remain chaste. His cousin Benvolio advises him to forget her by attending a Capulet masquerade ball. Romeo agrees and, disguised, sneaks into the event with his friends Mercutio and Benvolio. There, he meets and falls in love with Juliet Capulet, who reciprocates his feelings. However, their love is immediately complicated by their family's enmity. Tybalt, Juliet's fiery-tempered cousin, recognizes Romeo and is furious that a Montague has intruded, but Lord Capulet restrains him. After the ball, Romeo sneaks into the Capulet orchard and overhears Juliet on her balcony, expressing her love for him. They exchange vows of love and plan to marry in secret. Act 2. Romeo seeks Friar Laurence's help, who agrees to marry them in hopes that their union will end the family feud. Juliet's nurse helps arrange the secret wedding. Before the wedding, the nurse meets Romeo and conveys Juliet's devotion to him, reinforcing their commitment. Romeo, overwhelmed with love and excitement, eagerly awaits the ceremony. The two are wed in Friar Laurence's cell, and their passion is sealed in the presence of a higher power. However, their happiness is short-lived as external tensions escalate, casting a shadow over their union. The act ends with the young couple hopeful, yet unaware of the impending doom that awaits them. Act 3. Tybalt, still enraged by Romeo's presence at the ball, challenges him to a duel. Romeo, secretly married to Juliet, refuses to fight. Mercutio, disgusted by Romeo's passivity, takes up the challenge and is fatally wounded. As he dies, Mercutio curses both the Montague and Capulet houses. Grief-stricken and furious, Romeo retaliates and kills Tybalt. When the prince arrives, he spares Romeo's life but banishes him from Verona. Juliet is devastated by Romeo's exile, but the nurse arranges for them to spend one last night together before he leaves. Meanwhile, Lord Capulet, unaware of Juliet's marriage, arranges her wedding to Paris, a nobleman. Juliet is horrified and seeks Friar Laurence's counsel. Act 4. Friar Laurence devises a plan. Juliet will take a potion that makes her appear dead, allowing her to escape to Romeo when she awakens in the family tomb. Juliet, filled with fear and doubt, contemplates the dire consequences of taking the potion. What if it fails? What if she awakens trapped in the tomb? Despite these thoughts, she drinks the potion with determination. The following day, the Capulet household erupts in mourning upon discovering Juliet's lifeless body. Her elaborate funeral is arranged, and she is laid in the family tomb. Meanwhile, the friar sends a message to Romeo explaining the plan, but fate intervenes. Act 5. Romeo's servant, Balthasar, brings him the news of Juliet's death before the friar's letter can reach him. Heartbroken, Romeo buys poison and returns to Verona. At Juliet's tomb, he encounters Paris, who has come to mourn her. They duel, and Romeo kills Paris. He then enters the tomb, drinks the poison, and dies beside Juliet. When Juliet awakens and finds Romeo dead, she stabs herself with his dagger. The tragedy is discovered by the families, the prince and Friar Laurence, who explain the lovers' secret marriage and their fate. The deaths of Romeo and Juliet finally reconcile the Montagues and Capulets, who agree to end their feud in honor of their lost children. Romeo and Juliet is often misread as a simple romance. However, it is fundamentally an examination of extremism. The central theme is the intertwining of love and death, suggesting that such intense passion cannot survive in a world defined by rigid social conflict. Shakespeare's motivation likely lay in dramatizing the tension between individual agency and star-crossed determinism. He challenges the audience to decide whether the tragedy resulted from divine fate or from the systemic failures of the adult world. Artistically, the work is celebrated for its linguistic evolution. As the play progresses, the language shifts from superficial, courtly puns to deeply personal, tragic poetry. Technically, Shakespeare employs oxymorons to reflect the characters' internal contradictions. A key turning point is Mercutio's death. His cynicism provides the comic relief that, once extinguished, plunges the play into irreversible darkness. In contemporary society, the play remains vital for its exploration of urban violence and tribalism. Modern adaptations, such as West Side Story, recontextualize the feud through the lenses of race, gang culture, and social media. It serves as a perennial warning about the pace of modern life and the tragic consequences of a society that lacks empathy for its youth.